In the previous lecture, we have discussed fossil fuel as a source to generate energy. Even though fossil fuel is readily available and cheap, it is a form of non-renewable energy which put limits on its availability, and its usage could harm the environment through the carbon dioxide it produced. Today, we will be discussing the different renewable alternative energy sources which provide sustainable and reliable power supplies. Nuclear energy is one of the alternative energy sources which is reported to produce a high amount of energy with no emission of greenhouse gases. In America, 20% of the nation's electricity consumption is being supplied by their 59 power plants. The claim that nuclear energy is a clean energy is somehow true, as supported by the report of the Nuclear Energy Institute of America stating that the United States have avoided more than 476 million of carbon dioxide emission in 2019. However, there are some claims that nuclear energy is not clean or green at all. This claim is strengthened by the argument which states that mining, milling, and enrichment of uranium into nuclear fuel are extremely energy intensive and result in the emission of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere from the burning of fossil fuels. The nuclear energy is being generated through the process of nuclear fission, which is the splitting of uranium atoms to produce energy. The energy released is in the form of heat, which is used to create steam that spins a turbine to generate electricity. In the Philippines, President Marcos started to build a nuclear power plant located in Bataan, but the said nuclear power plant was not operated. On the other hand, geothermal energy utilizes the heat energy from within the earth that is captured to harness to generate electric, electrical power. In a dry steam power plant, which is the most common design of a geothermal power plant, the earth crust is drilled to allow the steam with high pressure beneath to escape. This steam is allowed to pass through a pipe to turn a turbine which will produce the electrical energy for consumption. The use of geothermal energy has its own advantages and disadvantages. Though geothermal energy provides unlimited energy supply without causing air or water pollution, the construction of such facility is very expensive, and also the maintenance cost is high due to corrosion. In the Philippines, there are already 8 operating geothermal power plants, and one of these is in Mindanao, which is situated in Mount Apo. Aside from these 8 existing geothermal power plants, there are 10 prospect sites in the country for the establishment of an additional geothermal power plants. However, a type of geothermal power plant design, which is called the open loop system, also has its own environmental impact. Such open loop system emit hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide, ammonia, methane, and boron. Once in the atmosphere, hydrogen sulfide changes into sulfur dioxide, and this contributes to the formation of small acidic particulates that can be absorbed by the bloodstream and cause heart and lung disease. Sulfur dioxide also causes acid rain, which damages crops, forests, and soils, and acidifies lakes and streams. However, it was reported that as compared to coal, the sulfur dioxide emission of geothermal power plants is 30% lower. In addition, the light energy produced by the sun exhibits so much potential that can be harnessed to produce electricity. The light energy is being harvested by solar panels where it is converted into electrical energy. Solar energy is considered as the cleanest and most abundant available renewable energy sources. However, there are presented disadvantages in pursuing solar energy. The first on the list is its efficiency. Not all locations get the same amount of annual sunlight. With this, The efficacy of solar power drop dramatically the farther you get from the equator. According to the Qualitative Reasoning Group with Northwestern University, most solar panels on people's houses convert only 14% of their available energy into power, and even today's most efficient solar panels convert only 22% of their available energy into power. The next disadvantage is that you need a big installation area to generate more electricity. Lastly, the conversion of light energy into electrical energy also entails pollution and environmental problems. The environmental problems associated in solar energy is not on how the electricity is being formed, but on manufacturing the solar panels to do the job. One of the many hazardous components in a solar panel is cadmium, which is an example of a toxic heavy metal. Like everything else that is left under the sun, solar panels will undergo deterioration from ultraviolet rays, and the deteriorated solar panels has to be taken care of carefully to prevent leaking of its hazardous components in the environment. The next type of an alternative source of energy is the hydropower plant, which generate electricity from the flowing water. Hydropower was the largest source of renewable electricity in the United States in 2019. In spite of the promising potential of hydropower dams in energy generation, there are also negative environmental issues associated to it. The first is that it was said that dam, instead of conserving water, actually loses heat. Generally, reservoir and artificial lakes have a larger surface area than the rivers and channels that feed them. This means that a larger surface area of dams and reservoirs expose more water to the sun, which speeds up evaporation. A study conducted by the European Water Association on the evaporation rate from artificial and municipal lakes and reservoirs in Istanbul concluded that the amount of evaporation per year was equal to the city's water needs for 26 days. Second is that dam causes habitat destruction. Any dramatic change in river composition stresses both up and downstream habitat. The change in the composition of the river interferes with the chemical signals guiding aquatic animals through their biological processes. Also, the physical barrier of the dam blocks species from their traditional spawning and rearing locations, and as a result, freshwater species have lost 76% of their population since 1970. Wind energy, on the other hand, use wind to make electricity by turning the propeller-like blades of a turbine around a rotor which spins the generator to create electricity. Currently, there are 6 existing wind farms in the country, wherein the Burgos Wind Farm in Ilocos could generate 370 watt-hour per year. Aside from those mentioned, biomass, which is a plant or animal material, can also be used for energy production or to produce other industrial products. Most biopower plants use direct fire combustion system, wherein they will burn biomass directly to produce high pressure steam, which drives the turbine to generate electricity. Aside from electricity, biomass can be subjected to fermentation, which could produce fermentation products as raw materials in the creation of other energy sources such as alcohol. At present, a combination of gasoline and alcohol, which is called the gasohol, is created to reduce the carbon monoxide emission of vehicles. Though considered renewable, biomass still has negative impact in the environment as its utilization still produces greenhouse gases which could enhance global warming. All discussed different sources of energy has its own positive and negative attributes. Considering all the information you have learned from this topic, choose one from the discussed energy sources and what explain why is it the best source of energy. Thank you and good day.